So today we are going to start with a small quiz before we start with the presentation. Please go to the next slide. Okay, can you identify these people? Who is this guy? Most of you don't know, right? Yes. Ma'am? No?
Finance Minister or?
No. He is the former Prime Minister, H.D. Devegowda.
Sorry.
Nirmala Sitharaman.
वाला का नाम क्या है? बोल इसका नाम नहीं मालूम है तो
Hey.
का नाम बोल किसी को मैं बोल अच्छा मेलोडी है ये मुझे
Alright. Okay. What is common among all of them? They are celebrities. One thing common, right? Another thing common which you all don't know, which only I know. All of them have visited the MTR restaurant in Bangalore. Whenever they visit Bangalore, they are like regular customers, loyal customers of MTR. So MTR has a restaurant, but you all may not have visited MTR Bangalore, but you all have heard the name MTR, right?
Yes.
Where did you hear?
MTR masala
MTR sambar powder, instant mixes, gulab jamun, right?
masala
All
chicken
right.
masala
Okay. Calm down, guys. Let's move on. So you have heard of all these. How did this start? We are going to talk about that today. All right. So before we move on, please go on. Just brief history. Just click or follow. Yeah. Okay. So it has a very humble starting. 3 brothers came from Udupi to Bangalore. They started this small Brahmin coffee club on Lalbagh Road. They were serving just coffee and idlis. This was in the 1920s, 1924. In 1934, they added other South Indian dishes, dosa, vagera. In 1960, they started a restaurant. So they expanded from the small shop. They became a larger restaurant. And in 1997, they introduced thali meals. So till then, they were only serving tiffin items. Then in 2000s, they expanded to various countries, including Japan, USA, UK, Singapore, etc. Alright? Okay. Please move on. Next slide. Okay. So when did this story emerge from being a Bangalore small place to becoming a national phenomena and then moving on to the international phenomena? It had its seed in this particular incident called the emergency in India. So for various reasons, in 1975, Indira Gandhi introduced the emergency, and in this turmoil, how MTR, the head of MTR was Mr. Sadananda Maiya, how he innovated and how he dealt with the problems. Please go to the next one. Okay. And it became today a 1,000 crore business from a struggling business at that point of time. Please go on. Okay, so first problem was the government had declared an emergency in 1975. It was a political issue for various reasons. It was done. I'm not going into it. But what happened as a result? Many fundamental rights were curtailed for the people, and a lot of problems were there for the citizens. What are the problems? We'll go on. But already India was having a lot of socio-economic crisis. We had a war. We had 2 years of bad agriculture, so very bad rains. Grains were not there, people didn't have enough food, already those problems are there. When agriculture suffers, income goes generally because agriculture is the root of many of the businesses we have. Go to the next one, please. MTR's challenge. So the challenge was, how do we maintain operations? We are a small restaurant, by then they had opened the restaurant, small restaurant serving tiffin. How do we survive? How do we keep our employees? And how do we offer the customers the best we can? Next slide. Okay. So the founding vision was to serve authentic, hygienic and delicious South Indian food. That was their main core idea. And in the post-independence era, after 1947, they had tried to maintain their standards and also provide the best food they could. And the emergency was a challenge to their values of providing this food. Please go on. So what was the strain? The first strain was that there was an agriculture problem. There was 2 years of bad agriculture, so all food was in scarce, and there was an oil crisis because of which oil prices had gone up. जब पेट्रोल का दाम बढ़ता है क्या होता है?
गाड़ी कम चलता
है, transportation becomes costly. As a result, everything becomes costly because things are transported across the country, right? Oil costly was, सब costly was. 4 times बढ़ गया. So it was 10 rupees, suppose it became 40 rupees. So imagine what happened to the prices, other prices, right? Next was government measures. Now this was another problem. Government measures में क्या है? Wages freeze हो गए. There was no increase in wages. There was compulsory savings introduced, and also price control. Government said you cannot charge more than this for items. So I'll go into it more later. But these are the major problems which everybody is facing. It's not only MTR. All businesses are facing. How did MTR deal with it? We are going to go into that. Next one. Alright. So the first problem was price control. So at that time, the price of idlis was 25 paisa. Government said you can charge only 10. मेरा raw material का price बढ़ गया है. If I charge only 10, how will I provide? That is the first issue. Survival tactics. Okay. So what are the survival tactics you can do at that point of time? Coffee was 1 rupee. They said charge only 10 paisa. 1/10 of the price you can charge. Both items are high selling items which have become now I have to sell at a lower price. How do I survive? Some companies would do cost cutting. I put very bad ingredients, cheap ingredients and try to produce. That is one way. Another way is adulteration. I mix cheaper things into it. आटे के साथ मैदा मिला दो or do some other things which are cheaper and try to provide that. Another way is I close down, shut down. That means my employees will be on the road, right? My employees will suffer. How do I handle it? Now, even during COVID, we have seen that many businesses went out. Same reasons. मेरा prices problem है, मेरे को cost cutting करना है, and I have to shut down, right? Alright. So, but what did MTR do? It chose to maintain, continue production. It chose to continue serve the customers and also provide employment. How did they do it? What were the steps they took? This one. Click off. First one. They shifted from cooked food. So restaurant business is cooked food, na? To ready-made food. जो आप बोले ना pickle, sambar powder, all these were started at that time. So they shifted. They shut down the restaurant part, but they continued production of the ingredients, ready-made stuff, which you just so आपको mix आया, आप mix किया, उसके साथ दही mix किया, इडली बना दिया. Mix water, put dosa. Take the ready-made pudi, put it along with the dosa or idli and have it, right? So ready-made stuff they started selling. उससे क्या हुआ? मेरा sales continue हुआ. I'm still using my kitchen. My employees are still employed, and I'm still having sales. I'm still serving customers. People still want to eat, right? But at the same time, I'm not opening the restaurant, which is a cooked food. उसमें क्या होता है? Perishable हो जाएगा, right? So longer storage life, and I'm also providing the service. But ingredients are costly. So how to go about that? So you have heard of rava idli, rava dosa?
Yes.
Huh? What is the difference between a normal idli and a rava idli or rava dosa? Normal idli dosa में rice डलता है. Rava idli dosa में rava डलता है. Rava is cheaper. So when you put rava, you are providing quality, but you are cutting down the cost. That was the first thing it did. Second thing, अगर आप कोई कॉफी का पैकेट देखो, पीछे आपको कॉफी इतना, चिकोरी इतना. Chicory has very similar taste profile to coffee. So they started combining coffee and chicory. You get the benefits of coffee also, you get the taste of coffee also, but at the same time it becomes cheaper. And people now actually develop the taste so much for that chicory coffee that if a pure coffee is given, people don't like it anymore. They want only that chicory mixed coffee. This I've seen in Bangalore. So people want that particular taste. So they substituted. They didn't do adulteration. They didn't put cheap ingredients. They substituted with good quality stuff, but which is cheaper. Okay, alright. And the restaurant was converted into a grocery store. They started selling food mixes, pudis, etc. So, what was the first problem they had, Nana? Let's recall. No. What is the first problem? What is the first? Prices.
Rise the price.
Yeah, rise in prices. Second problem. Material costly. Yeah, say rise in prices. Controlled prices. You cannot sell at high prices. वो किसके लिए ready-made food के लिए? Processed food I can charge the cost amount which I want, right? So I have got over the price control का issue. I no longer have to charge the government prices. I have cut down my cost by substituting with good quality ingredients. What is the third problem?
Not to sell in the market.
No. So that is from the income side, no, ma'am. But from okay, that is also a problem. Customers were not paying because they had low incomes, na. They had to deal with that. Customer को still खाना है, but he cannot go to the restaurant buy ready-made food. Instead, he can buy the instant mix and make at home. So he is serving the customers also. That's a good point. So he dealt with all this and he developed a supply chain. So instead of just producing locally and distributing locally, he developed a supply chain and started distributing nationally and today internationally. Alright, please go to the next slide. Thank you. Alright. So first thing was okay, packaged food. Second, product diversification. So they not only limited themselves to rava idli, rava dosa, they introduced chutneys, podis, etc., sambar powder, वगैरह. At the earlier point, they did not have sambar powder. They later introduced those things also. Then global reach. Now they export to 21 countries and they have a business of 1,000 crores. So 97 years survival, 1,000 crores revenue, and spread out across 21 countries. This is their achievement. From a point where they were struggling, and not only them, everybody was struggling, but they survived. What was the difference? They found a way around the problems. They thought about it and found a way to still deliver quality to the customers. Let's go to the next slide. So now they learned from this emergency period. During COVID, when was the shutdown announced?
2020.
March. By March 10th, MTR had already started doubling its supply because they knew that people will need food. Due to COVID, people will not be willing to socialize. They'll stay at home and they can still get the food. So they started expanding their supply chain. So preparation, learning from your experiences earlier. This is also very important. Supply chain management. So supply chain management, third year BBA students, you all are learning. One essential thing is transportation, negotiation, all this has to be done well in advance. So all this they did well in advance so that they could deal with the COVID problem. And lastly, industry benchmark. They set a quality benchmarks now which everybody follows, especially in Bangalore. Rest of the country, of course, there are other brands. In the South Indian, Nandini and MTR are the main brands which are set as quality standards. Next slide, please. What are the lessons? One, a crisis always has opportunity also. If you do not see the opportunity, of course, you will fail. But if you see the opportunity, you can use that to rise. Second, build a brand, build a name. Your name should have value. When they hear your name, they should trust you. That's very important. So build a relationship, not only with your customer, but also with your employees, with your suppliers. Lastly, there are many stories in India. We always hear of foreign companies' survival, Japanese companies, American companies. There are local companies who have survived. Both the examples we have given today are Indian companies. So when you pick companies, we should have companies which are relevant to us. So we would encourage you, of course, we are not saying don't pick companies which are not from India, but we would be very happy if you could pick examples which are more relevant to us. Alright? Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.